Hey, you guys, you're going to want to listen all the way through on this episode because we're going to get some answers.
Like the answer Julia Roberts gave to a question she's never been asked before.
Yeah. And the answer to a question that Kelly will be asked about the name of Jerry Horner's new book, Frosty Queen of the Jungle. We'll see. Thanks for listening. Oh, hey, Kel.
Hi, Sharon.
Normally I'd say, hey, Adam, too. And in this particular circumstance, it's my fault that we are not saying, hey to Adam, because I have a typewriter that thinks it's a computer or a computer that thinks it's a typewriter. Anyways, Adam is on his merry way to have a nice rest of his day. And it's me and Kelly
Yeah.
taking you through all things 90s, like a nice story for moving on for Bob Saget's widow.
Yeah.
I know it sounds sad to say it, but it is a nice story. We'll tell you who barely recognizes himself after 6 years of sobriety. Also, Julia Roberts answers a question that surprisingly she's never been asked before, which is kind of similar to when you think of Kelly's trivia. Surprisingly, we've never been asked these questions before, but she'll test us. Oh, she'll test us. And I'll take you down a musical memory lane with your 90s rewind. You know what? There's news about one of our faves and big news about her new book. So since it's spicy in nature, let's start there, Kel. We're talking about Spice Girl Jerry Horner.
Mm-hmm.
Ginger.
Ginger Spice.
So she's written another book, right?
Yeah. It's I always forget the title because it's got a powerful title in the character. It's like I'm gonna say it's not Falcon Frost, but it's like Frosty Lady or something.
And because my computer has acted like such a swear word, I don't have the document open, but while you talk about something else, I will get it.
Yeah. But I know it's really awesome for me, and I think for so many people to know that Ginger Spice is an author and like a
Yeah.
best-selling author from what I gather. So
Well, the book that she's written, of course, is Rosie Frost and the Falcon Queen. So you were kind of right there.
so close. What I call her Falcon Frost.
Yeah,
Must be Falcon.
Falcon Crest. Wasn't that a great show in the early 90s? Um, so the fun news about this for Jerry is that she's neither confirming nor denying the possibility of it being made into a movie,
Which means a movie's coming.
which totally means a movie's coming.
Yeah.
Because why wouldn't you be able to deny it if it wasn't? You know, you'd be allowed to do that because you're a grown up.
Yeah.
Whether or not she'll be in it remains to be seen. What she said about that she says, I don't know if I'd star in it, but that when I write, I definitely think of characters that I can see someone playing. So maybe she's foreseen a role for herself. I think if I were to write books like that, I would totally write myself a character.
Oh, I think so. I feel
Imagine that pitch too, eh? You're with producers and directors. I think it should be me.
yeah.
I know this character well. I wrote it for myself. I mean, I think it should be me.
That's why I think Bradley Cooper keeps, writing and producing films so he can just star in them or direct them or
No
do.
kidding. Oh my goodness. Now, Jerry says that there's no right way to write for her. She said, but the other thing she'd say is that the discipline of time. So she says, phones outside the room, and literally she says from 9, let's say to 12, just write and then go have a cup of tea because otherwise you get distracted by doing anything.
Mm-hmm.
So I think just discipline. And I think we know from what we witnessed of her in the Spice Girls as pop superstars, you would know that there would have to be some level of discipline required there too.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
So
and it's funny because when I read that part, that makes all the sense because that's what I try to do when I'm working on something. I'm like, here's a block of time. This is your block of time to get it done. So
yeah,
don't do anything else. And it's funny because when I lock in, I'm good.
yeah. It's knowing how to lock in. Sometimes I forget how to do that.
Well, it's super easy to, especially to like sometimes too, like for example, I was just doing preparations for an interview that's coming up with an amazing artist that I can't wait to tell you about. Her name's Kenya Grace. And
Nice.
so I was preparing for this interview with her, and I needed to check her Instagram handle. So that was my plan was to just
Oh,
check her Instagram, and then sure enough, something popped up. I got a message from somebody else, and I was like, so I lost like 6 minutes
right.
answering something on Instagram, and then I was like, ah, this is into my time of like needing to focus. So then I put the phone away, locked back in again. But yeah, it doesn't take long, and it's funny because when you were doing research, you just look at something else and you're down the rabbit hole.
Oh yeah. I think that's Instagram's MO.
Yeah.
Let's get them.
Yeah.
We don't care why they're here, but we'll keep them here.
Yep.
They will definitely forget why they're here.
Yep. Yep.
So we can look forward to any development for Jerry and her new book, The Falcon Queen of Falcon
Frosty
Crest.
Lane.
I'm just kidding. It's not called that. It's not Falcon Queen of Falcon Crest. It's Rosie Frost and the Falcon Queen, of course.
Yeah. Did you watch Falcon Crest? I love that show.
I watched a bit of it, but I think I was too busy going to house parties.
That's what I figured. Yeah,
That
I'm
would have been
really
before
young
going to the
at heart,
clubs, Cal.
so I was still home on Friday nights because I think it used to come on because it was right after Dallas, right? So I think Dallas was on at 9, and I think Falcon Crest was on at 10 on CBS.
I told you that we started watching Dynasty, right? I think it's this year. I don't even know. I may have lost track of time because of the fact that it's on every day on this throwback channel we have, and how awful it is.
Yeah.
I mean, it was, I mean, the acting was perfect for what the show was, which was
Yeah.
a nighttime soap opera. So the stories are very over the top and all that, and they succeeded in that, the over the topness,
Yeah.
and you're getting along for 1 minute, and the next minute you hate that person, and there's a chance they're gonna die because they fell off the horse. It's just there's so much to it. So I don't think it's targeted at teenagers, which is what I was at that time.
Yeah.
And so that's probably why I didn't watch Falcon Crest either. Like I said, I probably would have been happier at a house party.
But that explains why I still watch soap operas to this day, like not nighttime soap. Well, I suppose some of my shows are probably nighttime soap operas, but still a big fan of The Young and the Restless. So
Yeah, but I think there's something about daytime soap so that you're okay with what
it,
they're doing
yeah. But you know
because
what
they
I said? And it's funny, and I don't know if you'll agree to this, but I said this to my brother. I said, because I remember being young and watching Young and the Restless or General Hospital at the time. I was a big GH fan too. And some of the plot lines, you're like, this is so ridiculous. Like, this would never happen. Right. But
right.
then you grow up and you go through things. And then I told my brother, like, probably at least 10, 12 years ago, I'm like, Young and the Restless is not that far off. Like, obviously,
Hmm.
in some of the crazy stuff, yes, it is. But in
Yeah.
some of the relationshipy stuff, you're like, oh, yeah, I could see
Yeah.
how this could happen.
That's very telling, Kelly.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I can see it. All right, Kel. There's no easy way to get here,
Okay.
but I think we're ready for trivia.
All right. So cue the situation where Adam's gonna play the sounder and bing bong. Like here we go. By the way, I have to say, in the episode that Adam missed, which I guess was the last one, he timed it perfect and he had it work out. So where we talked about trivia and where my bing bong came in, it hit bing bong on
Oh,
the.
nice.
It was amazing. Yeah.
He is gifted.
He is gifted, little Adam. So we'll start with art and literature.
Oh, I
Who
can't
wrote the
wait.
Who wrote The God of Small Things?
Um, Patrick Conroy.
No.
I think that's my
Arundhati?
go-to answer, by the way.
That's your go-to. Okay. Is he a crime writer or who is that?
I'm not even sure if that's his real name because every time I say it, I'm like, I know Pat Conroy. Um,
Sharon, is that his nom de plume?
ooh, maybe Fancy Kelly. Um, anyways, Kel, what's the answer?
Arundhati Roy.
I so like, do you think I'm gonna know the answer to
I
these
do.
questions? Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Well, I appreciate that. I
Yeah.
should act like I knew it.
Yeah.
Let's
Well, we
rewind a
always say
second.
like
Darn
say,
it, I knew that one.
yeah, say it with confidence. So this should be more down your line of here we are. Pop culture.
Oh yeah.
Which flavored beverage is claimed to have turned a child's skin orange after she drank 7 glasses a day?
Oh my gosh. Is it Orange Crush
Are you ready?
or is it
You're
Tang?
Sorry, Sunny Delight.
Sunny D.
Remember those
Oh,
commercials? They were pretty like on high rotation for a while. Sunny D.
yeah.
Yep.
And they made it catchy by calling it Sunny D because it was Sunny Delight, right?
Yep. Also, from if memory serves, when I did try it, it wasn't up my alley.
Too sweet, right?
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. A little too sunshine.
Little too sunny D.
Heavy on the sunny.
Yeah. There's a lot of D. It was too much.
Wow. And turns children orange. What a time it was. Welcome to the 90s.
And we'll say that I don't know if this was confirmed or denied a la Jerry Halliwell.
Yeah. Sounds like a great question, though.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, man. Okay. So we were talking about Julia Roberts getting asked a question that she'd never been asked before. Isn't that crazy? The question was out of a conversation / interview with Andy Cohen on his show. And normal question, I think, to, reading an article about it. But she said, that's a really good question. I've never been asked it. But the question was, what movie would you like to do a follow-up to? And she quickly answered, My Best Friend's Wedding.
Yep.
So I say, you're Julia Roberts. You can do anything.
She can make it happen, a la Mariah Carey.
Imagine that.
Yeah.
I
And
think
I don't know if you watched the clip, but I watched the clip from that article, and
yeah.
she answered very fast. Like when they said that in the article that she answered quickly, she in fact answered quickly. Like there was not missing a beat. It was like she repeated the question and then she was like, "Oh, my best friend's wedding."
I think it would have aged really well. That's 26 years later, right? 97.
Yeah.
Imagine Dermot Mulroney, Cameron Diaz, and I haven't seen Rupert Everett in ages.
Since that movie.
He was so handsome and lovely.
Wasn't he friends with Madonna also?
I think so.
Yeah.
She had all the gay men.
Yeah.
As friends, of course.
Yeah.
So elsewhere, there's no word on whether or not that will happen, but wouldn't it be great if it did?
But now it's out in the universe, and
exactly.
Whatever his name is went on. Is it Dermot Mulroney? I always confuse him and the other one. There's like two of them that have similar.
Dermot Mulroney and Dylan McDermott.
Yes, those two. I confuse them all the time. Sorry, boys. He's gone on record saying that he has wanted this to happen since like 1997 to have a sequel.
Okay, well, let's do it. We are ready for it, you guys.
So is Shadow. Shadow is ready.
There's Shadow. He's a sweet baby.
For our audio listeners, Shadow, Sharon's dog, has made an appearance.
Yeah.
He has like one of the best side profiles in life.
He's pretty chill.
Yeah.
Julia Roberts knew that he won't look in the camera, but I can force it. There it is. Oh. There. Side eye.
There we are.
Julia Roberts, her new movie on Netflix, Leave the World Behind.
Did you watch it?
No.
Okay.
I'm contemplating watching it, but just the trailer freaks me out.
What's it about, Sharon? I have no idea.
I think it's about the end of the world.
Okay, I won't be watching.
And how Kevin Bacon has some clue as to why it's all happening. Haven't you been paying attention? I think is the question he asks.
Too much.
I just think that, I don't know, there's like animals that all of a sudden run in the same direction, and there's birds that fly in the same pattern, and then there's like swarms of like flies and stuff. I say, run in the car and close the vents. And drive till you can't drive anymore. Just be ready.
Do you have an end of the world preparedness kit?
Well, no, but I think you got to close the windows.
Yeah.
So the bugs don't get in. And I think I live with the windows closed anyways, and yet spiders always get in. So I think we're doomed, Kelly. I don't know, man.
This show has taken a turn.
I know. Anyways, let's get back to the 90s when I wasn't scared at all.
Yeah. Except in your hammer pants.
Exactly. Well, other people were scared. Did she steal a loaf of bread in those pants? Maybe she did. Maybe she did. Yeah. So 6 years of sobriety later, and Charlie Sheen barely recognizes himself, right? Meaning when he recognizes himself now, no problem. And clearly the stuff that he was doing 6 years ago and further beyond, I don't think many of us recognized what he was doing. So he's in good company. But nice that he is clean and able to identify things that he won't do.
Yeah.
Again.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed.
He sounds like he's really locked and loaded, like in the right direction. So
And that's healthy.
yeah. And especially because it sounds like he really wants to be a good dad to his offspring. So that's important also. Yeah. Yeah.
That's what he
But do you
said.
remember the Tiger Blood situation? That was such a weird time.
Yes, because he was winning. Remember that whole
Yeah.
thing? Like,
Yeah.
okay, got it, fella.
I remember he went on like a short-lived tour, like where he just was taking tickets and like you could go watch him rant. Remember that?
Yeah, imagine like we could have just done that for free on the internet,
Yeah.
which we were doing
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah.
But I just thought it was nice to throw that in. He's good. He's moving forward. It's not interesting also that John Cryer, who was one of the Two and a Half Men,
Yeah.
has a new sitcom now. I don't
Oh,
remember the
really?
name of it. Yep, him
Oh.
and that guy that was on Scrubs,
Oh, I know who you mean. I'm
Donald
forgetting his name all.
something, Donald Faison. Is that it?
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Him.
Yeah.
So that's nice.
Just quick sidebar before you continue. So you know how Frasier has been out? They don't want to even call it a reboot. It's like a because it's not, most of the characters are not back, just
Right.
Frasier.
Yep.
Although Roz does make an appearance in the finale, by the way. Um,
Nice.
so I started watching the first episode and I'd heard bad things about it, that it was like not good and like whatever.
That
But
is a bad thing to hear about a new show.
yeah,
It's not good.
yeah. But they are getting a second season. And like I said, I've only watched one episode, but I have to tell you, the moment I heard Kelsey Grammer, on and saw him on screen and be Frasier, I felt this like amazing sense of like all is right with the world because it just made me feel like we were back in the 90s and everything was okay.
It's cool. And where is that on Paramount Plus?
Paramount Plus, that's where I watched it. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
So that's another cool thing I think about platform services like that is that it's not just in North America. Like we have access to stuff from everywhere,
Mhm.
which is really cool. So for any of our folks listening in the UK,
Yeah.
Frasier
Yeah.
is a show.
Yeah. And my last point for that, or my main point for telling you all that, is that I think that what the people's problems is like it's hard to see him without everybody else.
Yeah.
So you need to give like, because even me in the first couple of minutes, I was like, "Where's Roz?" Like you
Yeah.
just, or where's Daphne and Niles but he's such a strong anchor that we just have to give the other characters time to establish themselves as characters. And because even like he has a character on the show that plays Niles and Daphne's son.
Oh yeah.
Can't remember his name because Frederick is his own son, but I can't
Yeah.
remember what their son was called. But anyways, the actor that plays him actually looks like he could be quite funny. He's
Oh
very good
cool.
at being awkward and weird, and so I think like he will grow on people. So
Okay.
so give the show a chance is what I'm saying.
Well, the interesting thing too about Roz not being there is that that's typical radio,
Yeah,
like the staff changes.
yeah, yeah. And he's
That
physically
happens.
moved the show, and he said actually in an article that I read that had more cast members come back, they would have kept it in Seattle, but
Right.
because nobody came back, they moved the show back to Boston. And so
Ah.
he actually sings the theme song with a Boston reference.
Oh, cool.
And remember how like the Space Needle was like in
Yep.
in the show graphic, you actually see the Space Needle, but then an airplane flying away.
Oh, cool.
So it's really cool how they've done it. And I give him and the team credit for trying to give this a go. And I think everybody should give it a go also.
And she's not being paid to say that.
No. And by
But
the
she,
way, Kelsey Grammer looks amazing. Like
that's good.
he still looks like he could be from 20 years ago.
Wow. So he's doing something right. That's good. Well, we've got a nice story also of moving on for Bob Saget's widow
Mhm.
because we're coming up on the second anniversary of his passing. Isn't that
Crazy.
wild? Like it doesn't seem like that long ago.
Mhm.
Now, for his daughters, they've given her their blessing to move forward with her life.
Yeah.
I'm totally blanking on her first name right now.
Kelly
Kelly?
Kelly Rizzo.
Rizzo, right.
Mhm.
And what she says about that permission from his grown-up daughters, like they're in their 30s, She says it's meant everything, that even though it's something that you don't think you need permission for, it meant everything to me to have their blessing and just knowing that they want me to be happy and that they love me. To the point where she spent the first Christmas, so last Christmas, with one of the daughters who came to her family's Christmas celebration so that they would be together. And they'll do it again this year, she said.
Yeah, I thought that was amazing.
Yeah. It's really nice. So they have I think once you're in people's lives like that, you're there forever and it means something. So good for them.
Yeah.
I just thought it was a nice positive way to wrap things up because it is sad to think of Bob Saget having passed. And certainly sad for those that knew him and loved him personally.
Yeah. I follow her, by the way, on Instagram. She's a good follow.
Yeah.
Eat Travel Rock, I think it is
Oh,
her
cool.
handle. And because she was like a food blogger, right? So
Right.
yeah, so she's just, and she's had such a good, I mean, I don't follow her religiously, like I don't check her feed every day, but when I do see it, I've only ever seen her be eloquent about what she's gone through and being honest. So I think people know, it's been a road,
Oh, no doubt.
Yeah.
My goodness. All right, Kel.
Yes, ma'am.
We're at a time now where we're going down memory lane to do your 90s rewind.
Do it.
You ready for it?
Nope.
Well, fun fact about the handful of songs that is slightly bigger today, because I wanted to mention that for this particular week on the charts, back in 1995, the top 5 songs were the same top 5 from the week before.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, incredible. So number 5 was Gangsta's Paradise with Coolio and LV, Fantasy from Mariah Carey, Hey Lover with LL Cool J, Exhale, Shoop Shoop from Whitney, and One Sweet Day with Mariah Carey and Boyz II Men.
Amazing.
So that's one little handful. I'll also throw in the Goo Goo Dolls' Name because I think you like that song.
Oh, yeah.
I also think you like a song called Runaway.
Do my Janet.
Janet Jackson.
Yeah.
Breakfast at Tiffany's from Deep Blue something. So I said, how about breakfast at Tiffany's? There was a whole conversation song. Odd. Anyways, thought I'd throw it in because it was in my head. Now I have it in yours. And there's a song that we're hearing a remake of now, A Beautiful Life, right? Ace of Base. Hear that quite a bit recently. That was in the top 20 of songs that we were hearing a lot around this time in 1995. That is your 90s rewind.
Good job, Sharon. Good job.
Thanks, Kel.
Yep.
So I said, let's wrap up this podcast. How about that?
Now, just a quick note. I'm sure you saw this already because you're the queen of rock and the queen of all. But Sarah McLachlan out on tour.
How exciting is that?
So happy.
It's been a minute, as they say.
Yep. So happy to have her doing her thing. And also just quick, new music again, as mentioned. Please check out Kenya Grace.
Ooh.
So
Okay.
she's a British artist. She's probably like 22. I don't even know if she's that. But she wrote and produced her song called Strangers, which has made it to #1 in the UK. And I'm so proud of her because she did this in her like bedroom.
Wow.
Song is #1. And she's a big fan of 90s drum and bass and 90s UK garage. So that's a big influence in the music she's producing today. So it's kind of like a full circle moment for us to even bring her up because yeah, she's got 90s influences. And she even says in an article, because I've been doing deep dives trying to get ready for this interview, and she talks about how much the 90s have influenced her.
Wow.
And like like I said, she's like 20, like somewhere like 20 to 23, we'll say. And I just think it's amazing. So check out her song called Strangers and basically check out everything else she's got because she's very good. And she does it all herself.
Fantastic. I was
Yeah,
looking
apparently
for
she
a
became one of only 2 women apart from Kate Bush. The stat I don't exactly know, but like of writing and producing her own #1 song.
wow. Good for her.
Yep.
I wanted to throw in an album to listen to if you're considering seeing Sarah McLachlan live.
Yep.
And the album is Afterglow.
Oh, right.
It's so good. And also she had a Christmassy album that followed that one, which are just so very good. And that's back to like 2003, 2004 time.
Amazing.
Just those. That's it. We're
There we
all
go.
hooked up now. We're all that's the now part of the 90s Now promise.
Full circle moment, Sharon.
Awesome. Hey, well, thank you everybody for listening and for finding us wherever it is that you do that. Thank you to Adam for his patience ahead of the recording of this episode. We appreciate his magic and addition. So we'll look forward to our next show, which will celebrate the season. And until then, thank you for listening to 90s Now. Still happening.